Hey, welcome to Randy's Rules, where Randy's Rules are always in effect. All right, what we got here? This is going to be a Wayback Wednesday. Not sure if I'll post this video on a Wednesday, but I am opening this box on a Wednesday. And it's way back because it is 1990s Fleer from the junk wax era. I picked up a couple of boxes of these at real cheap at some flea markets recently, and 1990 Fleer. What can you say? I'm hoping to pull a Jose Uribe, the ultra rare card, as you will see listings on eBay for upwards of $2,000, and I think probably at one point they might have been listed at like $100,000. Hey, if I can pull one of those, sell it on eBay, who knows, might take a nice little vacation. But if we don't get Mr. Uribe, or if we don't sell it for the $2,000 and we sell it for what it's worth, which is about 5 cents, there are a few things you can look for in these packs. This is Moise Alou rookie year, Juan Gonzalez, Dave Justice, Sammy Sosa, Larry Walker. Yeah, not a real exciting lineup there. One other thing you might look for in this set is a Cal Ripken error card. It was like an all-star type card, and they misspelled his name. They spelled it with a K-I-N instead of K-E-N. And the error is a little more rare than the corrected version, so it can be worth up around $4 or $5 maybe. So that's probably the prize of the box, with Mr. Uribe notwithstanding. There's 36 packs in the box and 15 cards per pack, and you get one logo sticker in each pack. So let's get the ripping and gripping. Okay, we'll just grab this first corner over here and go through these, and we'll try to do this as quickly as possible and as painlessly as possible. On the bottom of the box, you'll see they have these cards that you could cut out. We got a Clemens, Mattingly, Yount, and a Toronto Blue Jay logo. Back in the day, I did have a whole, I cut them out and left them as a 4-card block of them. Donruss was doing that, and didn't know if they'd be worth anything, and I don't believe they ever became worth anything, so they disappeared long ago. All right, first pack, we get a White Sox baseball quiz. Jim Gott, Edgar Martinez, Pedro Guerrero, Marty Barrett, Ozzie Guillen, Luis Quinones, Joe Hesketh, Alvin Davis, Jeff Brantley, Gary Pettis. His son, I believe, plays for San Francisco 49ers. He went to college at Boise State. Mike Marshall, Pete Harnish, Larry Anderson, Storm Davis, and Melito Perez. Melito, the brother of, I don't know if the old-timers like me will remember his brother Pascal Perez, who was with the Braves. Okay, we got Rick Dempsey, Scott Coolball, Andres Galarraga, Danny Tartabull, Sandy Alomar Jr., Dave Winfield, nice one, Glenn Wilson, Devon White, Fred McGriff, who I believe should go into the Hall for he had a long career in steady. Ron Hassey, Von Hayes, Pat Borders, R.J. Reynolds, Dan Gladden, and Mark Eichhorn. Okay, Garen, Charlie Hayes, Bobby Witt. His son is in the Royals organization, was like the number 2 or 3 pick this year. Gerald Perry, Denny Walling, Andy Allenson, Juan Samuel, Mike Devereaux, Charlie O'Brien, Luis De Los Santos, Jeff Ennis, John Farrell, Tom Browning, and the Player of the Decade, 10th anniversary, Ryan Sandberg. I actually have, that I had kept from back then, the Era Ripken card already, and I should have grabbed it, so I got to show it to you guys. If you remind me, I'll do it at the end if we don't get one. Got Kruk, Mookie Wilson, Bobby Bonilla, Gary Gaetti, Sid Bream, Henry Cotto, Vince Coleman, Rick Cerrone, Matt Morello, Joe Oliver, Tom Foley, Harold Reynolds, who's probably better known for being a baseball analyst on ESPN, Kevin Mitchell, Fred Lynn. A lot of these guys were, even though most of them are not Hall of Famers, there's a lot of that were good ball players in the day. And they had, they were stars. Willie Frazier, Shane Raleigh, Paul Kilgus, Alan Trammell, Roberto Alomar, Ramon Martinez, Pedro's brother, Kevin Reimer, Tim Raines, Bo Jackson, Darren Jackson, Lance McCullers, Bob Forsch, Chili Davis, Junior Felix, and Phillips. Where is Jose Uribe? Colin, Jose, where you at? We got All-Stars, McGuire, and Mattingly. That's a pair. Alex Cole, Joel Skinner, Keith Hernandez, Mark Williamson, Greg Vaughn, Frank White, Blaine Beatty, Jerry Brown, who's shared a name with the California governor, so his nickname when he played was the Governor. Eric Davis. That was a guy, real toolsy guy, like good power, good speed. Just didn't maintain it over a long enough term. George Bell, Alec Hamaker, Joe Price, Ryan Sandberg, and Gantner. Mr. Uribe is eluding us so far, but we got a lot of cards to go yet. We got Greg Walker, Scudder, from my home town. Damaso Garcia, King Griffey Jr. Nice second-year card of him. Brett Butler, Steve Searcy, Oral Hershiser, Dave Schmidt, Kevin Bass, Steinbach, Pete Smith, Greg Cataray, Don Carmen, Ruben Sierra, and Lonnie Smith. I would have been, in 1990, really happy with the cards that pulled just out of that few packs so far. Jesse Barfield, Alex Trevino, Johnny Ray, Ernie Witt, Todd Burns, Dennis Cook, Frank Willis, Bob Walk, Ken Herbeck, and a Fleer All-Star Team, Cal Ripken. Not the one that they did the era of, but Benny DiStefano, Dennis Powell, Jose Aquindo, and Jody Reed. Donnell Nixon, Carlos Quintana, Dwight Smith, Robin Yount, Bob McClure, Gary Wayne, Joe Girardi, Guillermo Hernandez, I think they called him Willie, Dennis Rasmussen, and we got Tom Dries and Dan Howitt. Major League prospects. Neither one of them did much, so wasn't very good prospects. Alejandro Pena, Fred Manrique, Kevin Gross, Jim Eisenreich, Mark Davis. All right, well, that first stack did not produce Jose Uribe, and actually, I think I left a card. Looks like I might have left a pack on the bottom on that one. So, John Franco, got the George Brett 10th anniversary. Oberkfell, Rich Gedman, Mitch Williams, Dan Plesac, Jack Howell, Carmen Castillo, Lloyd McClendon, Jack Morris, Mark Grant, and we got some more prospects. Rudy Saenz and Colin Charland. Again, two guys that did not get beyond prospect status. Lenny Harris, Mark Langston, and who's that hiding back here behind Lenny? That's Drew Hall. If this video runs long, I'll edit it to shorten it for you guys, but I will not leave out any dramatic or amazing discoveries. Jeff Montgomery, Mark Parent, Don Mattingly, Juan Augusto, Claudio Washington, Dwayne Ward, Rick Honeycutt. He was a junk ball pitcher. Really pinpoint control. Couldn't break a pane of glass with how hard he threw, but he was effective. Ricky Jordan, Lee Mazzilli, Mike Lavallee, Juan Berenguer, John Farrell, Tom Browning, another Ryan Sandberg, and Donnell Nixon. This is actually kind of fun. I remember opening these, and like I said, not at the time, not knowing these were junk wax and severely overproduced. I would have been pretty happy with the breakdown of who I'm getting and all that. We got Mark Lemke, Willie Randolph, Jay Tibbs, Gerald Young, Ricky Henderson, Eric Plunk, Cecilio Guante, Pete Incavilla, Daryl Evans, a couple of prospects, Delano DeShields, and Jason Grimsley. Well, both of them had some decent careers in the majors, and Delano's son's playing for the Rangers. Todd Zeal, Mike Benjamin, Greg Jeffries, and Randy Milligan. Greg Jeffries, that guy looked like a superstar. I remember seeing him in Double-A game, and it was just obvious that he was better than everybody else on the field. But his major league career just didn't really equal his talent, I don't think. Mike Felder, Terry Leach, Barry Lyons, Deion James, Tim Leary, Greg Litton, Les Lancaster, Greg Brock, Dan Petrie, Rick Aguilera, who was a starter that ended up becoming a top-notch closer, Damon Berryhill, Tracy Jones, and Benito Santiago. Bobby Rose and Mike Hartley, a couple of prospects that never rose to the top. Randy Reddy, Jake Doherty, Spike Owen, Willie Wilson. He was on those good Royals teams. He was kind of the table setter for them. Carlos Martinez, Pat Sheridan, Kurt Wilkerson, Chuck Finley, Tony Fernandez, Felix Jose, Kurt Ford, John Cerruti, Jose Lind. Oh, wrong Jose. Gene Larkin. Carlos Quintana, Dwight Smith, Robin Yount, Bob McClure, Gary Wayne, Joe Girardi. All right, we're starting to see some duplications here. Tom Drysdale, yep. Even the prospects are. I think we have opened that pack already. Look like the same, probably the same exact collation in that pack. So let's see if we continue that trend. Jeff King, Bill Swift, nope, seeing some new names. Ozzie Smith, all right. The Hall of Fame's being well represented with these cards. Nick Sosky, Eric King, Jack Armstrong, Larry Walker. That would be one of the rookies that we'd be looking for. David Valley, Ernest Riles, Paul Gibson, Kirk Gibson, Jim Traber, who he does radio now. Actually, I hear him locally around here. He hosts radio show, Talk Sports. Craig Biggio, Hall of Famer, Dave Henderson, and Ron Gant. Got Eckersley, Thigpen, Mel Hall, Ken Howell, Jeff Russell, Jeff Blauser, Game Savers, a couple of closers from today, Mark Davis and Mitch Williams, Wild Thing, John Morris, Joey Bell, also known as Albert Bell, Kevin McReynolds, Guy Ripken Jr., Darrell Hamilton, Pat Tabler, Frank Viola, and Doug Jones. We are getting all the stars from 1990. That is for sure. I guess Jose wasn't a big enough star for us to get him. Okay, there's Harold Baines, Mike Stanton. Not to be confused with the current former Mike Stanton, also known as Giancarlo Stanton. Gary Reedus, Jay Buhner, Todd Worrell, Roger Clemens, Scott Fletcher, Ken Griffey Sr., there's Pascal Perez. We had his brother, I believe, was the first gold card we pulled. Randy Johnson, Craig Lefferts, Brian Dubois, Jay Howe, Kevin Hickey, and Mike Scott. Okay, that's it for the first two stacks. Let's go left corner there and see what we get. Jeff Parrott, Todd Stottlemyre, Bill Landrum, Alan Anderson, prospect Matt Kinzer, Wayne Edwards, didn't make it. Rick Reed, Keith Comstock, Willie McGee, Mike Boddicker, Steve Rosenberg, Rick Mailer, Marquise Grissom, Darnell Cove, and Matt Williams. If any of you guys are seeing some of these you would like to have, I'm just going to box them up. And so if you see something, particular cards, players you like, or want certain teams, just self-addressed stamped envelope, and they are yours. Jose Gonzalez, Gino Petrali, Dave Martinez, Mark Gubiza, Mike Pagliarulo, Walt Terrell, Dan Shassiter, Lance Parrish, Tom Hinkie, Stan Javier, Dickie Thon, Lance Mullinaves, and Doug Wayback, and Jeff Reardon. As you look through these, you realize how many good players will come and go that are good, solid, everyday players during their time that do not get into the Hall of Fame or even considered, because the Hall of Famers like Ripken and Henderson and all those and is obvious, but I remember these guys being top notch, big timers in 1990. Kevin Napier is one of those. Here we got Gary Carter. Everybody knows him. Candiotti. Jose Rijo. Del Murphy. Chris Spire. Bob Stanley. Great single ball pitcher. Got a lot of ground balls. Greg Maddox. Yeah, he'd been around a few years at that point. Ted Higuera. Dante Bichette, whose son is making a splash there with Toronto. Al Newman. Dean Wilkins. Bruce Hurst. And a couple of prospects. Kelly Mann and Dave Hansen. Don't recall either of them, so had a Frank Tanana in there. He was a stablemate with Nolan Ryan when he first came up with the Angels, and they both threw lightning bolts, and they was like 1 and 2 in strikeouts. Tanana then developed arm trouble, and over the latter half of his career was an effective finesse pitcher, and ended up having a pretty decent long career. Jeff Hamilton, Brian Holton, Glenn Davis, guy could mash. Bob Welch, Sean Hillegas, Don Slott. Always thought that was an awesome baseball name. Bruce Ruffin, Nolan Ryan. All right. O.D.B. McDowell, or is O.D.B. Young again, as they used to say on ESPN. Starter and stopper, we got Mark Gubiza and Jeff Russell. Ken Hill, Rich Yett, Sid Fernandez, and Jerry Royce. Okay, so far Larry Walker is still the only notable rookie that we have pulled. So we're still looking for Juan Gonzalez, Dave Justice, Sammy Sosa, and the ever elusive Jose Uribe. And events like, I guess that's because it's an ultra rare card. That's why we're having trouble finding it. Greg Gagne, Mark Davis, Martin Clary, Randy Kramer, Scott Bradley, Holy Dion, Mike Greenwell. Another one had some really big years in his prime. Chris Hammond, Scott Geraltz, and Frank Williams. Jeff Pico, Chet Lemon, Gary Templeton, Mike Huff and Steve Fry, a couple of non-prospects. John Wetland. Didn't realize he was ever with the Dodgers. Jamie Moyer, who was around forever. Hubie Brooks, Bob Boone, Pat Clements, Steve Sachs, Brian Meyer, Burt Blyleven, George Bell, Kurt Young, and Roger McDowell. Actually pretty impressed with the collation in this. We're not getting a ton of doubles, and could get fairly close to a good start on a set. Just going through one box. Rod Nichols, Darryl Strawberry, Bob Malacky, Tom Fowler, Rick Lukin, Mark Carrion, Felix Fermin, Chris Sabo. Send that to Jabs. I know he loves Chris Sabo. Will Clark, Kelly Downs, Luis Rivera, Vance Law, Bill Spires, Jeff Monto, and Roy Smith. We're running out of, getting low on time to be pulling Jose Uribe. May not be another extra vacation this year. Nelson Santavina, Jim Presley, Robbie Thompson, not to be confused with Bobby Thompson, Sean Holman, Mike Scioscia, Steve Finley, who muscled up and hit 50 home runs one year, Terry Poole, Mark McGuire, Tom Glavine, Hensley Mullins, Greg Hibbard, Steve Bushell, Jeff Treadway, Dan Pasqua, and Dan Quisenberry. And that's, as you see, we are getting the who's who and the anybody of 1990, except for the elusive Uribe. Alex Trevino, Johnny Ray, Ernie Witt, Todd Burns, Dennis Cook, Frank Willis, Bob Walk, Ken Herbeck, Jay Bell, Gene Harris, Terry Pendleton, Rob Murphy, Tom McCarthy, and Rod Robinson. That one had quite a few that we'd seen already. All right, let's pull out the last stack and see what we get. It is fun opening wax packs. Okay. McFarlane, Dave Magadan, Brooke Jacoby, Leno Rooms, Roger Clemens, Randy McCammett, Dennis Lamp, Andre Dawson, Gary Sheffield, Mike Witt, John Moses, Steve Wilson, Lou Whitaker, Tony Gwynn, and prospects Hedman and Mark Gardner. Gardner bounced around a little bit, but not too distinguished of a career. Eddie Murray, continuing with, we're piling up the Hall of Famers. Larry Sheets, Bill Duran, Walt Weiss, Dave Justice. There's one of them rookies. Mike Blowers, Sammy Sosa. There we go. This is the rookie pack right here. Cecil Espy, Andres Thomas, Robin Ventura, who took offense of Nolan plunking him and ended up getting a bloody lip for his trouble. Frank DePino, Jose De Jesus, David Cohn, Jeff Ballard, and Bill Kruger. All right, we nearly got all of the rookies that you would look for in 1990. Steve Yeltz, Mike Flanagan, John Smiley, Kirby Puckett, Raphael Belliard, Ryan Holman, Tom Bernansky, Lee Smith, Don Paul, Jeff Reed, Wallace Johnson, Jeffrey Leonard, Jose. Oh, there we go. We got the Jose Uribe card. And with a few packs to spare, who knows, we might actually pull another one out there. It is the ultra rare Jose Uribe. Apparently they got his birth date wrong. And some folks have trouble distinguishing between an error and a corrected error. And they assume that means it's rare. And this one is pretty sadly off center. Probably can't fetch me a couple of thousand for that one. If may have to take about $1,500 for that one. Maybe we'll get a PSA 10 in here. Tim Laudner, Blankenship, Mike Henneman. We haven't been getting that many duplicates, so chances are pretty slim we'll get a second. Eric Show, I don't remember how you said it. Prospects, Greg Smith and Stu Tate. Never heard of them. Mia Hatcher. Rick Leach, who was a pretty good quarterback for University of Michigan in his college days. Tim Burke, Brett Saberhagen, Carmelo Martinez, Steve Baboni, Rick Roden, Jim Abbott. If you guys remember him, he pitched without a right hand. And he would catch with his left hand gloved and switch over, and he could do that smooth and return the ball, catch the ball as fast as anybody with two hands. Dave Steeb and Dave Parker. Ted Power, Jesse Roscoe, Bob Ojeda, Joe Orsolak, Tony Fossas, Luis Aquino, Tim Tufel, the Bud Black, Norm Charlton. There's that Ripken. I'm going to set that aside because I have the error card, and it looks exactly like this, except it says KIN instead of KEN. Terry Kennedy, Danny Heap, Rick Sutcliffe, Paul Molitor, and Kurt McCaskill. All right, we found all but one of the rookies, and we found Jose Uribe. Can we find Moses Alou in these last few packs? Herm Winningham, Zane Smith, Scott Bankhead, Don Robinson, Dave Bergman, Mike Morgan, Craig Worthington, Ken Caminiti, Dave Stewart, Lance Johnson, Darren Dalton, Charlie Huff, Geronimo Baroa, and League's best shortstops, Fernandez and Cal Ripken. Jim Clancy, Dick Schofield, Kelly Gruber, Jim Corsi, Tom Herr, David Wells, Barry Bonds, Randy Bush, Howard Johnson, Jose Alvarez, Jeff Robinson, Eric Hansen, Joe Magrain, Ellis Burks, and Ivan Calderon, or Ivan Calderon, I think is the way they pronounced it. Two more packs to go, and then the misery is over. I'm sure I've lost many of you once we got the Jose Uribe, but those who are still here, enjoy this last little stroll down memory lane here. BJ Surhoff, remember him? He was a real top prospect. He had a decent career, but never really mounted to all the hype he had preceding him. Doug Baker, Mitch Webster, Gary Ward, Jack Clark, and Monteleone and Dana Williams, Ray Searage, Harold Baines, Tim Wallach, Kurt Stillwell, Joey Cora, and Clay Parker. And final pack. Can we get a second? A good center cut PSA 10 of Jose Uribe. Let's see. Andy Hawkins, Pat Combs, Jeff Kunkel, whose dad was a umpire. Might even mention it on there. Nope. Joe Beaver, Superstar, Howard Johnson, and Ryan Sandberg. Tony Pena, Steve Allen, Howard Johnson, Greg Olson, which he had a couple of years where he was just a stopper as a closer. Jeff Peterick, Steve Farr, Don Ossie, Joe Carter, Paul O'Neill, and last but not least is Jose Canseco. All right, well, there you have it. 1990 Fleer. And what did we get? We got the Ripken, which I'm just going to pair that one with the one I got that's the error, just for my own private collection. And then we got the Uribe, ever elusive Uribe card, Sammy Sosa rookie, Dave Justice rookie, and a Larry Walker rookie. Solid careers. Sosa would probably be Hall of Famer if it was not for the PEDs, but that's yet to be seen. He might still make it in someday. You know, it's hard to believe somebody with 600 home runs would not make it, but he is somewhat tainted. Dave Justice just fell short of consistently putting up the strong numbers that he did during the middle of his career, and pretty much the same for Larry Walker. So there you go, 1990 Fleer. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you enjoy seeing old packs getting opened and reminiscing about the good old days, just hit like and subscribe, and I'll keep doing it. All right, that's all I got. See you next time.